What if I told you New York City isn't just growing taller, it's preparing to leave Earth altogether? Yeah, sounds crazy, but the truth. It started over 200 years ago. Back in 1890, New York was suffocating. Crowds were unbearable. Were flooded with people. The city was so dense, average person couldn't walk more than 3 blocks before hitting a wall of steel, brick, or humanity. But what if I told you that was exactly the plan? People thought it was just overcrowding. It's a side effect of booming population and immigration. But behind the scenes, something else was happening. In the shadows of the industrial age, the architects weren't just building up, they were following. A blueprint left behind by something not of this world. Steel was the key, material too perfect, too suddenly abundant. And once it appeared, the city didn't evolve. It mutated in 1920, zoning laws started popping up. People believed they were created to keep neighborhoods quiet and sunny, but researchers now believe something else was influencing city planning and artificial intelligence, one that embedded itself into the urban framework. They call it the grid. At first, it whispered suggestions into the minds of early planners. Then it began reshaping blueprints, modifying designs, pushing for density, for verticality, for height. William Van Alen wasn't just an architect. He was a conduit. Designing the Chrysler building wasn't just about ego, it was about activation. At 1,046 feet, the tower acted like a tuning fork. Not for sound, but for signal. Van Alen claimed to have dreams from the sky that showed him spires and glowing crowns. He once wrote in a journal, now missing, "They want us to rise." He said Earth isn't enough. Shortly after the Chrysler was finished, he disappeared from public life. New York has faced dozens of moments that should have destroyed its skyline: fires, bombings, economic collapse, hurricanes. Yet somehow, the core skyline always survives. Engineers say it's resilient design. Some believe the city has self-healing architecture, nanostructures hidden in the steel, repairing damage before we notice it. Some claim the city is no longer entirely built by humans. Here's where it gets crazy. A few years ago, scientists discovered a repeating signal bouncing between the tips of skyscrapers across the world. New York, Tokyo, Dubai. It forms a triangulated pattern, like a grid, like an antenna. One hypothesis: cities are being prepared, not just to grow but to detach. Some skyscrapers are being built with materials that aren't even registered on Earth's natural periodic table. The blueprints for Hudson Yards? Over 30% of the materials are classified. Imagine this. In 100 years, New York isn't on Earth anymore. It's in low orbit, the buildings connected by sky bridges, suspended in the stratosphere. A network of vertical cities drifting just above the planet, powered by solar cores and magnetic levitation. They call it Project Ascension. And it's not science fiction. The patents are real. It's the AI running the infrastructure. Already online? Some say the city isn't preparing for the future. It's preparing for departure. Why keep it secret? Because if we knew the truth, that Earth was just a launch pad, it might break us. Or worse, it might make us want to leave early. But here's the secret they can't hide. Next time you walk through Manhattan, look up. Notice how every building is spaced just so. How every antenna faces just the right angle. The city is watching, waiting. What if New York is no longer a city? What if it's a living machine, shaped by the thoughts of its creators and the whispers of something much older? Because maybe, just maybe, we didn't build the skyline, it built us. If this theory blew your mind, hit that like button. Want more stories of hidden technologies, urban mysteries, and AI conspiracies? Subscribe and turn on notifications, because the truth isn't just out there, it's above us.